Hey, hey everyone, and welcome to another engaging session at nestgen 24. I'm Natasha, product designer at Flightbase, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this session. I hope you're enjoying nestgen so far. Please let us know in the chat and do share your feedback at the nestgen Wall of Love. So, in this session, we're going to dive deep into how you can optimize your security solution with Sunflower Labs. They build and sell remote autonomous security solutions for commercial, industrial, agricultural, and residential properties. The Sunflower Beehive system is a unique drone in a box solution built to be fully autonomous from the ground up. This system integrates with their existing security cameras and sensors and extends the capability of any security system or stuff. So trust me, guys, they're the reason we can sleep a little more soundly at night. So worry not. To show you the way, we have Alex, founder and CEO of Sunflower Labs, joining us today. Alex is a specialist in emerging trends of autonomous robotics and security technologies. He brings decades of experience in building unique products, leveraging cutting edge technologies. And trust me, they've got a solid security solution that would make any spy movie jealous. Just kidding. But before I let Alex take the stage, I'd like to share a few housekeeping rules. So you can please type in your questions in the Q&A tab of the session and it'll be answered at the end of the presentation. This session is getting recorded, so it will be published soon. And also, we have a Sunflower Labs booth in the expo section, so please make sure you visit it during the networking and booth slots. And finally, if you find this session insightful, then please share it on LinkedIn using the hashtag nestgen. So before we move on, I just want to thank DJI, our title sponsor, and Sunflower Labs, our gold sponsor. So thank you so much for supporting us in this mission. So with that, over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. Excited to tell you what we're doing and to give you some updates on where we are. So let me first tell you just a little bit about what we do as a company, and then I'll talk about more generally about what we do in terms of security. So Sunflower Labs builds an autonomous drone security system. So all of these words are really important to us. So we want to build a system which is fully autonomous. Yes, we do require that there is a pilot in command, at least for the time being, but the system is built to be technically capable of operating without anybody attending to it as soon as the regulations allow us to do that. It is a security solution. So our primary focus is property security, outdoor property security to be specific. And of course, the drone, because we want to be able to cover a large property very quickly with all of the advantages that the drone provides to you. So it's made for patrolling, securing, and inspecting large outdoor properties. Our system consists of 3 components. First is the drone that we call the Bee. It is a unique design. It is custom designed by us. The unique aspect about our drone from almost everything else that you will see in the market is that our drone, first and foremost, is built for reliable landing. So a lot of people who design drones design them for flying. That's fine. Drones should be flying, but we actually don't think that flying is the primary goal of the drone. Our primary goal is to come back and to land. Our secondary goal is to automatically recharge. So our drone is built for landing and integrated recharging. And our tertiary goal is actually to fly. And then we have other goals after that. So the drone's unique shape is built to be a counter to the base station, the hive. So what you see in the middle, that's our base station, which will house the drone, and that will recharge the drone and generally will make sure that it can land even in very rough weather conditions. And the third component is our software. So our software is uniquely designed by us as well. It is truly built to be the simplest way to operate a drone you can imagine. So if you've seen other drone controls, usually they're very powerful. Usually they can do a lot of things. Because we are so narrowly focused on security, we're able to hide or remove or just generally automate so much of our functionality, making our software really there's like 12 buttons that you can push in the entire software. And that makes it so that our operators, people who use our system, have a really easy time learning how to use it and an easy time operating the system. So I wanted to show you a little bit of our software. So in this video, you will see how our system operates. So this is essentially what you would see as the main screen. This example here is going to show you our office. So that's actually our office right here. We geo-cage and we map the property for obstacles. You can select what you want to control or what you want to inspect. In this case, this is a short inspection. And this is how the system works. It just opens up from the box. It takes off in under 5 seconds from when it was asked to be deployed. It goes to the location it was told to inspect, whether manually or based on a trigger. It will detect people and vehicles. You can follow people around. It can send you alerts. And it will capture everything throughout the flight, all the pictures, all of the video, all of the sensor data. And then in the end, it will come back. It will find its base station. It will slide in. When it touches those golden rings, that's the charging system. It will land and it'll be ready to go again. And then this is a video you can find on our website. It's just a loop of a whole bunch of different customers that have deployed their system. So in this case, one of our partners is Security Central in North Carolina. And so here you can see a different property where they're operating the system, also geocaged, also mapped for obstacles. These are the different patrols that they automatically perform. So they can just pick whichever patrol they needed, deploy it, and there you go, same thing again. Within seconds, it's up in the air and it's flying. So I wouldn't show much more of this video, but I did want to show a different one. I talked about our system being rapidly deployable. So here is a little bit of a different view. So this is actually 4 cameras, 3 looking at the base station and 1 recording from the drone, flying over our office and flying automatically to a random location. So this video is actually 12 hours long, so I'm not going to play the whole thing today. But if you'd like to see the whole video, let me know. But this is just a couple of selected clips of the drone performing. I think it was 180 flights that the system did in those 12 hours. So this is kind of goes as an example of how our system is built to be reliable, so reliable for landings, even in bad weather conditions, to be repeatable. We can be deployed within seconds, every couple of minutes if necessary, and to be very rapid. So rapid is reliable, repeatable, and rapid is sort of the 3 key words for anything that you'll be providing for security. So those would be the essentials. So this is just kind of looping over and over as the drone takes off and lands, goes to a different location, comes back, recharges, gets ready to go again. So that was just a little bit about kind of our system, but just to speak a little bit more generally, why did we pick security and why are we sort of doing that? So I am a strong believer that drones can really be good at one thing. So they can be extremely good at one thing. They can be okay at 2 or 3 things, and they can be particularly sort of mediocre at 15 different things. And it really depends which thing you pick. So if what you're building is a drone for delivery, then you can be really good at delivery, but you're probably not particularly good drone for security or for inspections, for example. If you're good for, I don't know, inspections, there could be sort of other things, other payloads, other specialization that you will pick. We wanted to build a system that's truly good for security. And so to that end, we needed a system to be easy to deploy, easy to use. We needed it to replace or reduce the number of security guards you would have on a property. We needed it to be very rapid. We needed it to be affordable and extremely reliable. And so if you look at some of the points on the slide, really all of current security is humans and cameras. That's basically modern security. So you can install a bunch of cameras, you can have security guards. Yeah, you can also have sensors and maybe a couple of other things, but pretty much most of the security will be observations, and in some case, some interaction or a person who's going to call the police. Well, that tends to be, first of all, quite expensive and quite limiting in what you can do. So you can only install so many cameras practically before it becomes unmanageable. So let's say you have a large property, okay, you can have a couple dozen cameras or something like that to cover them. But those cameras aren't going to cover everything. And those cameras are going to be typically installed at locations which are less than optimal for where you would want to observe, right? So the camera is typically mounted on the building that they're trying to protect, looking outwards. But really what you want is the camera on the perimeter looking inward. But if you do that, then you just look like a prison, right? With like a fence of cameras staring at you. So it sounds like a super great solution. Human security guards, are very effective, but very expensive and somewhat unreliable. So you can hire quite a bit of guards, and whether they are paying attention or not, you don't quite know. So you could be spending a lot of money, but not necessarily getting the best of your security. So we wanted to address that. We wanted to basically build a system that is a replacement for a large network of security cameras. So instead of having dozens, or not, in some cases hundreds of security cameras, you can have a few, and then you can have our system to complement the rest of it. And instead of having many security guards, again, you can have a few, you can have them remotely, and have the system be able to go to the areas which aren't necessarily covered by the stationary cameras, do a patrol of the property, get a closer look. And then the drone can also provide a form of intervention, right? So if a drone flies out to follow you on the property and you should not be there, that's quite an intimidating experience, equivalent to a security guard with a flashlight, or a dog that starts barking at you or something like that. So that's the reasoning sort of behind our system, and as the way that we understand the market is sort of shaped today. So this is the making security better and cheaper sort of approach. Now, there are many advantages of the drone. I don't need to convince folks here that drones are useful, I'm sure, but just to give you a few. So a drone can be deployed within seconds. And so that's really one of the biggest advantages in our system, is that it's built to just be, a trigger goes off, it arms, self-diagnosis, opens the roof, and it's out of the door in under 5 seconds. And we can actually make it even shorter. We can cover a large area. So we have a deployment that covers about 200 acres with one system. And so it takes a little while maybe to get to the outer corners of it, but with one system, you can cover quite large areas. I have another slide that shows that. We're not going to be stopped by gates or fences. So a lot of people sort of look into ground-based rovers, or the dogs, robotic dogs, and so forth. Those can't really go much further than the human can, right? A drone can fly over a much larger area without being obstructed by anything. We can do patrols much more frequently than people. Like I said, we can do patrols every few minutes. Imagine hiring a security guard and telling him he has to do a patrol of a property every 2 minutes or every 5 minutes. That would not be possible. Through computer vision, we can detect just about anything. So people and vehicles is the most important thing, but we're working on some much more advanced detections, and we'll talk about that in the future. And we can do it on a regular schedule. We can do it on a randomized schedule, so you can't predict when the drone takes off and where it goes. So the drone is just kind of randomly operating in different places, and so on. So some of the other things I've already mentioned in these slides. And our system is built for a variety of use cases. So we have our systems deployed at some automotive factories, so large, big spaces that need to be covered quite extensively. We have our systems deployed over train depots or train storage facilities. We have our systems over office parks. We've done some stadium installations. We do a whole bunch of self-storage facilities. So those are typically remote and unmanned, so there's nobody to attend to them except for the drone. We do some correctional facilities, and even some religious buildings, which need more and more security lately, especially. And some unique aspects to our system. I'll go through these somewhat quickly. So one, fast installation. So you've seen lots of drones in the boxes, and you've seen the pictures of the cranes which are loading them, right? That's not the case with our system. It's 35 kilograms, so 75, 78 pounds. 2 people can easily carry it, plop it down somewhere. The only thing that you need is open sky. You need standard power, 110 or 220. And you need a connection to the internet. And here you can do Ethernet or LTE, 5G, or even Starlink. So it's very easy to deploy. We've actually done installations in under 2 hours, all in. So the base station is just 35 kilos. The drone is 1.5 kilos. So you can put it in the back of your van or back of your SUV, bring it somewhere, plop it out, set it up, ready to go really, really quickly. So I think that's one of the really unique aspects to us. We make great software. We make it, I swear, I think this is the easiest way that anybody has flown a drone, particularly because You don't really fly it. The thing is autonomous. You're really only just suggesting to it what you want it to do and what you need it to observe, and it just does everything it wants. It needs you to do. It handles emergencies. It handles changing weather conditions. It handles if it detected air traffic or if there's airspace restrictions. So nearly everything that the system everything that can be automated is automated in the system, and it works on a regular web browser. It works on an iPad, works on any phone, and basically these are the screenshots from our software, just real screenshots of our software flying over our office. I didn't have to do any Photoshop or anything. It's built to be reliable and safe. So this is our primary design goal, right? The system needs to be extremely reliable, because if you're going to use it for security and you're going to use it hundreds of times a day, or that's possible, then it needs to be extremely reliable. So it's built for fully autonomous operations. Yes, currently there is a pilot in command who is remotely watching the system when the drone flies, but eventually we hope to get away from that as well. It does all of the automatic pre-checks, self-checks before the flight. Actually, it doesn't continuously. It does checks before the flight, during the flight, and after the flight. And if any anomalies are detected, the drone will react to it. It is built for all weather. Yes, there are some extreme weather conditions in which we will not fly. We will fly in pretty strong winds. We'll fly in fairly heavy rains, but there are obviously limits beyond which we will not recommend that you operate the system. Not that people haven't, but that's probably not a super good idea. But generally, we believe that with time, we can handle even very extreme weather conditions. So we think that autonomous drones should be able to do that. And it's built for automatic return, landing, and recharging. So it's a full cycle of operations. Like I said, we monitor air traffic. We deal with automated deconfliction, and we've done 17,000 flights with 99.9% reliability. So super proud of that. I mentioned I'll talk about coverage. So the 3 concentric circles that you see on the picture show you all of the different areas you can reach within 1, 2, or 3 minutes of operations of flight, basically. So by the way, the little box there on the left, that is a football stadium for 18,000 people, just to give you a sense of scale. As a matter of fact, there's 7 or 8 football fields in that picture, just so you understand sort of the size of it. And so if you're willing to wait for 3 minutes to get to a corner of the location, then we can cover up to 250 acres. And so that's 3 minutes to get there, hang out there for a little bit, come back and land after that. And then a couple of other interesting bits. So we integrate with all the typical security systems. Think of us as just a camera. So you might have other cameras already. The picture you see in the top right is Ubiquiti, and so one of them is just our drone. And so if you have a monitoring center monitoring other cameras already, you can just see the video from the drone automatically in there. We provide proactive deterrence, so we can scare somebody away from the property. We can follow them around. And we will do automatic live privacy protection. So if you look at that picture, you see everything that's blurry on the outside. That is outside of our property. So in real time, we will blur out anything that's not part of your property. So in case your neighbors don't want you protecting them or spying on them, right, you can show them the footage and say, in real time, on the video, in the images, we will blur out everything that is not supposed to be covered by your property. We do, like I said, we do air traffic monitoring, so we can see if there are aircraft from ADS-B, from MLAT, from OGN, which is the Open Glider Network that's used in Europe, and from FLARM. So we will automatically aggregate all of that information and react to all of that. So we don't need to wait for any of the UTMs to become available. We basically decided to just solve this problem for ourselves the best that we can. Last thing I'll mention is we have all sorts of approvals. So from various FAA Part 107 waivers for beyond visual line of sight, for visual observer waivers, also waivers from operating over people, over vehicles. We actually have another waiver for some kind of a visibility requirement as well. So that's for US. In Europe, we have done a number of different SORAs. So SORA is the specific operational risk assessment. That is the way that you get the approvals in Europe. And the best one that we have right now is a SAIL 2. SAIL 2 is a specific assurance and integrity level. And that allows us to essentially do the type of security that we do over the properties where we operate. That gives us night operation authorization. That gives us, we don't need to have a visual observer. We can fly over populated areas, although not densely populated, but sort of lightly populated areas. And in some cases, we can even fly in restricted airspace, such as airports. This picture behind me is real. That's our base station. That is the operational, like a police of the airport. That is a real flight. That's a Southwest flight, and that's our drone in the air, much closer. Not on the plane is further away on the runway, but this is the GRR airport in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where we had authorization to basically patrol some of the areas and outskirts of the airport while the planes were coming in, landing, and taking off. Yes, that sounds crazy, but we were able to show that our system is safe and reliable even for things like that. Our systems are installed in about 10 different countries right now. Happy to install them in more. Get in touch if you have a country that we haven't covered or a city. And yeah, so that's the end of my presentation. So that's some of our team. There's about 3 times more folks than that. And that's some more systems in the snow. So that's all I wanted to share about our system. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I can also play some other videos and show how our system works in various other situations. Let's see. Do we have any questions?
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Alex, for sharing these insights. I'm sure it'll benefit our audience in the security sector. So yeah,
Great.
as I said, let's head over to the Q&A section now. So you can, audience, you can just go to the Q&A tab and ask away.
Yeah.
Um,
Is Sunflower Labs supporting customers updating waivers for BV loss? Yes, absolutely. So we basically have a framework for everything that we need to get approval for. And whenever there is a new site that needs to be considered, we will review it. We will take the documents that we have previously gotten approval on. If we need any customization, we'll provide the customizations. And then you can submit them. If you're the operator yourself, we can submit them on your behalf. So we have a number of different ways that we can do that. Can the video feed be shared with a video management system already in place? Yes. Also, we will provide an RTSP video stream, and any VMS that you might be using that supports RTSP will be able to inject the stream. So when the drone is not flying, it's just broadcasting our logo, and then as soon as the drone takes off, it becomes a stream. So what's actually kind of cool is that the VMS systems typically record when there's motion. So then they don't record when the drone is not flying, and as soon as the drone takes off, they see motion and they start automatically recording. We of course record the video as well, but you can do that yourself as well. Here, do I approve these? Or you're approving them? Okay. Can there be an integration? Okay, with security considered. Sorry, they're like jumping around, so I can't see. Okay, is there an RGB and infrared cameras? Yes, so there's now both. So the actual, I guess the other one is the thermal camera. So the RGB camera is our primary payload. So it is a low light sensitive camera that also sees in near infrared light, but there's also now a thermal secondary camera. So here you could see a video. The outside is our regular RGB camera, and the inner box is the thermal overlay. So the thermal cameras are typically narrower, they're lower resolution, they're a narrower field of view. So we thought that the best solution is really the synchronized overlay, and you can turn it on and off as you see fit. Okay, does Sunflower Labs dock and drone solution provide some drone hopping option from one dock to another dock? Not yet. So we will likely provide that in the future. We don't currently hop from one dock to another, but that is something that we're interested in. The reason we don't do it is actually kind of silly. It's because of encryption, because we essentially have a point-to-point encryption between our base station and the drone. And so shifting that encryption to another base station is a lot of work, so we haven't done that yet. But that is something we do want to do in the near future. Okay, what else? What DAA solution has been integrated to enable BV loss in US operations? So it's in US, it's only ADS-B in, and it's the 978 and the 1090. And so we receive both of those automatically, and we react to them as well. So the way that we do that is we have an area that we monitor for ADS-B, so we just sort of filter everything that's far away. We have an area where we would warn you that something could be approaching you. So think of these as sort of cylinders in space. So there is a cylinder that is, I don't know, 2 miles wide and half a mile tall, and we will warn you. And then we have like an emergency area. So if there's something which is in the emergency area, you really should not be flying. And then the system will automatically react that if an airplane or a helicopter is approaching the emergency area, we will return the drone to the base station. Actually, we will inform you, but you have no choice. The drone will be returning to the base station automatically. Okay. How much battery life and range? So our battery is altogether is about 20 minutes of flight. So we don't have the biggest battery in the world, and we don't actually like charge it to 100%. The reason for that, there's actually a couple of reasons. One, most of our operations, if you look at how our company use the drone, most of the flights are under 5 minutes. So what people are much more interested in are rapid flights and rapid recharging rather than long flights. So we don't do like a city patrol. We're patrolling typically a building or a factory or something like that. So by optimizing toward a faster recharging, so we sort of lose a little bit of flight time as a result of that, but we ultimately can give you a flight every few minutes, which I think is also quite a unique approach. So if you have a drone, and I know there's drones that fly for 45, 50 minutes, but then they take 4 or 5 hours to recharge, right? Because those batteries cannot be rapidly recharged. So if you wanted to rapidly recharge and be ready on standby, and also have the battery last a really long time, because when we do these smaller cycles, we had to optimize for slightly smaller battery size, and which range we can cover. So roughly 1 square kilometer per system is what we are targeted for. That has less to do with battery. That has more to do with the radio. So the radio is a point-to-point radio link, and so if we exceed that in the future, we will switch to LTE or something. But for the time being, about 500 meters, maybe 600 meters radius is what we cover. So that gives you about 1 square kilometer. Can you carry a speaker and the floodlight? We can't carry a speaker because to put a speaker on that is loud enough, it needs to be pretty large, and the drone needs to be quite large. Otherwise, the speaker is not loud enough to overcome the propellers. We do have in the future that we're going to have a payload with headlights, and so those will be really bright lights that you will be able to flash somebody with. We don't have it today, but we're experimenting with it, and we are considering putting in like a siren. So it wouldn't be a speaker; it will be like a horn, so you can make a loud noise, but you couldn't like talk down to a person. Is that a 360-degree camera underneath? No, there's only one camera, and that's in the nose of the drone. So I'll switch to this slide here. So that little nose of the drone is the one camera. The dots, the dots all around, those are collision avoidance sensors. So there are 4, and they are covering 360 degrees, and they're ultrasound collision avoidance sensors because we might be flying sideways or backwards, depending on where we need to go. And then there's a camera underneath, and that camera is for landing only. So that camera looks for our landing beacon on our base station, and that's how it lands. If you wanted to do a 360 view, you just yaw slowly, and you have a nice 360-degree view. We actually do have that as a feature. Excellent job, Alex. Thank you very much. Just some questions. UAS. Oh, wait. I read this one. So that was the IR and the RGB camera stuff. Hopping, TAA. Did I answer them all? Some of these are redundant, so I'm not answering every one of them. Transferring data. So how does it transfer? So the same radio link between the drone and the base station. So we would stream a video in sort of a slightly reduced quality as we're flying live, but then we also have an SD card on the drone, and then any snapshots or anything else that goes onto the SD card can then be downloaded, in its spare time. Typically, it all happens more or less in real time because the radio link for us is enough to be able to deploy everything to the customer. And the video is with 250 milliseconds of latency, and then the snapshots could be like a few seconds, but typically real time. Are you hiring people and partnering with companies to help extend US? Sure, get in touch. So on our website, there's a jobs page, or just reach out and let us know. All right, I think we're out of time. I don't know if I missed any. They sort of jumped around a bit, but do we have sunflower sensors? No, we don't currently have the sunflower sensors. Yes, that was the original idea, but the sunflower sensors were meant for kind of a private residential use case. Most of our deployments right now are commercial. So instead of deploying our own sensors, we integrate with a variety of sensors which are currently available on the market. Okay, I think that's my time.
Yeah. So thanks, Alex. Thank you so much. Would you like to share any closing thoughts?
Oh boy, I don't know. What did I say? What didn't I say already? I think focus, right? So if you're building drones, if you're building a solution, stay focused. It's really easy to let your imagination run, to be able to, you always feel like you can do more things. I think one thing that we are quite unique for is that, we've probably turned down more customers than we have, just because we have folks coming to us with things that we're just not super suitable for. I know it sounds like we can do it, but in the end of the day, like, we're very good at this specific thing. And when we deploy that, the customers are happy, our team is focused, we're delivering results. But if you try to do too many things, you don't quite get them all right. So that's my closing thought.
Yeah, thank you so much. Right, so just before we close, I just wanted to tell everybody that we've launched the nestgen community, which is an exclusive invite-only community for all the drone autonomy enthusiasts. So please find the form in the chat window and you can join the waitlist. So yeah, I think we're done. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Hope you're having a great time at nestgen. We still have a few upcoming sessions, so please go to the sessions tab and stay tuned. See you there. Bye-bye. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Bye.